Should blind bidding be banned in Canada when purchasing a home? The answer is pretty obvious, can't you see?
Actually no, I can't.
Well, that's alright, because in this video I'm going to go over all things blind bidding and see whether it makes more sense to ban it or not. What's going on, guys? Alex Dunbar here from the Dunbar Real Estate Group and RE/MAX Treeland Realty based out of the Cloverdale-Langley areas. And if this is your first time on my channel, I make real estate videos related to the Fraser Valley, BC, and Canadian real estate market on a weekly basis. So if that's something you're interested in learning more about, I suggest you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so you're notified whenever I put out a new video. And before I get into the juicy stuff today, I'll ask that you hit that like button if you support blind bidding, and also hit that like button if you don't support blind bidding. Just hit the like button. Alright, let's get right into it. So to start it off, let's define what blind bidding is. Blind bidding is when you make an offer on a property, you can know how many other offers there are, however you can't know what the value of those offers are. Additionally, you're often given a second opportunity to improve your offer. So the biggest issue that most people have with this sort of a system is the lack of transparency. And that's twofold in the sense that they don't know what the other offers are, so they don't want to be writing way above what the next best offer is. And secondly, that the realtor could be lying to them about how many other offers that they have. Now, the one issue that we have here in BC is that it's all essentially based on a trust system. The listing realtor has to disclose how many offers they have if asked. However, we don't have a registration system similar to Ontario. This can obviously cause problems if there's realtors out there that choose to lie. And this is the biggest issue that most of the public have. And while the majority of realtors go about their business ethically and don't break the rules, there's always going to be a few bad apples. And the media is never going to tell you about all the great transactions that went through. They're only going to point out the terrible ones. And personally, when looking at it from the public's point of view, I'd have to agree. There really should be more transparency. I think Ontario's actually got it figured out, and we should follow a similar system in the sense that they actually have to register offers, and then those individuals who have written offers on those properties are then notified of how many offers the listing agent has. In this way, as a buyer's agent, you'd actually be able to show your buyers some proof that they actually have offers in hand. Now, I should mention that in BC there is some recourse. It's not like you can't do anything about it if you feel you're being lied to, but essentially you would have to go to the managing broker of the listing agent and ask for proof. Obviously, I think you could see that there could potentially be some loopholes in this system, and I think it would just make a lot more sense if we did utilize an online centralized platform that held onto these offers and offered proof. But we're getting a little off topic here, so back to the actual topic of blind bidding itself, let's take a look at the pros and cons. The first pro is that it gives everyone an equal opportunity. Because you're all in the same boat and no one really gets an advantage over another, as long as things are carried out ethically by the listing realtor, this makes for a pretty fair system. Now, the first con is you don't know what other people are offering. Because of this, psychologically, many people believe that you're more likely to write a higher offer because you don't know what the other offers are. But at the same time, if you were to actually see an offer on paper that was higher than yours, who's to say that you wouldn't be inclined to write a higher offer than that? And although we can talk about the theory behind this, we need to actually look at some data. I also want to go over 2 examples of situations that could occur with blind bidding and with an open bidding or auction style. So first of all, let's go over the blind bidding situation. So you've gone out with your realtor and you found a home that you absolutely love and it's listed at $1 million. So your realtor sends you the most recent sales in the neighborhood of comparable properties, and you together decide that you want to write an offer at $1,050,000. You're also advised that there's 3 other offers. However, you don't know what the value of each of them are. So after you submit your offer, you wait around for a couple of hours until your agent gives you a call back and lets you know that you're not in the lead, but you're given a second opportunity to improve your offer if you want to. So based on the conversation you have, you both come together and decide that you want to offer $1,065,000. So you resubmit your new offer, and then you're left sitting around for another couple of hours. Again, after a couple more hours, your agent gives you a call and lets you know that unfortunately you didn't win. He's also not able to let you know immediately what the final sale price was because the listing realtor can't disclose that until subjects are removed and the deposit is in. So a couple of days goes by and finally your realtor gives you a call back and lets you know that the winning offer was $1,070,000. Now this makes you absolutely furious and you are fuming because you would have easily offered at least $1,070,000 if you had known what the other offers were. But because of the blind bidding system, you weren't able to do this. Now let's go over the same situation as if it was an open bidding system. So you go through the same scenario, you write your initial initial offer of $1,050,000, and then you have another party come in and write $1,055,000. A third party then comes in and raises it to $1,060,000, and you come back in once again and raise it to $1,065,000. Once again, another one of the other parties comes back and raises it to $1,070,000. Because you know what this price is, you decide to write $1,075,000. Do you see where I'm going with this? So here's the thing. Everyone talks about when someone overbids when they don't have to, but nobody wants to talk about the fact that if someone was given another opportunity, they would be willing to raise their price. Now, I also don't want to be naive or biased and say that there's absolutely no time during the blind bidding process where someone bids head and shoulders above the rest of their competition. But from my experience and speaking with a ton of others, it's fairly rare that this actually happens. For the large majority of the time, most of the top offers are within a couple $1,000s of each other. And it's typically only when you run into a situation where a family is desperate and has been losing out, they just don't care and they just write way above because they can't stand losing anymore. Now, I know this is anecdotal and we don't actually have enough data to prove this, but when we take a deeper dive into the study later on in the video, you'll see what I'm talking about. However, our governing body for realtors here in BC is actually conducting a study right now. I received an email a couple of weeks ago asking about a couple of specific sales last year and what the top offer was, what the next offer was, and how many offers total there were. Now, obviously what they're trying to do is figure out exactly what I was just talking about. Basically, what the average difference is between the top offers. And this is fantastic because more often than not, unfortunately, our government likes to make decisions without considering the data. And we all know how that goes. So personally, I am looking forward to see what the outcome of that is. But moving on, let's take a look at what the options are aside from blind bidding. So in the study done by the Smart Prosperity Institute, they outlined two endpoint flexibilities. Number one was the pure auction style, and number two is the seller determined ending. With a pure auction, the auction has a specified end time. At this point, the winners are revealed, or there ends up being no winner. Now with a seller determined ending, it goes exactly how it sounds. The seller determines the ending. So essentially, they can wait for other bidders to emerge, or they can negotiate with the top bids. Now, while the auction itself may not have an end time, many of the offers probably have expiry times. Now, the second thing we need to look at is the forms of bid transparency. And for this, they've outlined three options. They have open bidding, sealed bidding, and blind bidding. Open bidding is the most commonly known form of bidding and is also known as an English auction. Basically, bidders are made aware of what the other offers are and they have the opportunity to improve upon it. In a sealed bid auction, the bidders don't know what the other bids are. They also don't know the identity of the other bidders or the details of the other bids. And in a true sealed bid format, bidders aren't allowed to revise their bids. We then have blind bidding, which I already went over, where essentially you can write a bid and you can know how many bidders there are, but not what their bids are. And in this case, you more often than not get a chance to revise your offer, but not all the time. And this is going to come down to what the seller chooses to do. Now, when considering all these options I just provided, it actually gives you 4 auction types, all of which are currently legal in Canada. And if you look at the following chart, you can see what each of these are. You've got a sealed bid auction, which is private yet a pure auction. You've got a blind bid negotiation, which is private yet has a negotiated ending. You have an open English auction, which is open but is a pure auction. And you have an open bid negotiation, which is open but also has a negotiated ending. Now, different countries around the world use different formats. In Canada and the US, it's a blind bidding system. But in some of the other countries you can see on the chart, they use different ways. So as I mentioned before, the argument against blind bidders is the fact that they think psychologically they're going to offer a higher price than they need to just to be safe because of the lack of transparency. However, the counter argument to this is in an open bidding setting, because of the fact that every individual knows what the top bid is, psychologically they're going to be more willing to top it. But which theory is right? Well, let's take a look at the numbers. Taking a look at the following chart, the Knight Frank Global House Price Index of Q2 in 2021, Canada ranked 8th with a 16% home price increase. In comparison, in New Zealand, a country that often uses open auctions, prices rose by 25.9%. This is the fastest growing home price around the world in the past 20 years. Additionally, looking at Sweden, where blind bidding is banned, their home prices rose by 17.2%. Looking at Australia, open auctions are also the most common form here. And yet again, we see a 16.4% increase in home prices over the past 12 months. So based on what we're seeing in Sweden, New Zealand, and Australia, this data actually supports the fact that open bidding leads to higher prices than closed bidding. And to summarize the findings of this study, I'll read you what they have. There is limited though compelling academic evidence that bid transparency leads to higher real estate prices. Studies examining real estate transactions in New Zealand, Australia, and Ireland, as well as studies examining land sales in Singapore and the United States, have found increased bid transparency associated with higher rather than lower prices, particularly in overheated markets. This could be due to several factors, including public bids creating a signal that a property is particularly valuable in a way that less transparent bids do not. Now, while I do feel that further investigation into this topic is still needed, the early evidence suggests that we should keep blind bidding around, at least for now. So looking at these results, you have to ask yourself, is blind bidding really the issue? It's been around forever in the Canadian real estate market, and although it's been brought up from time to time, it's never been more scrutinized than right now. And while I understand the argument for lack of transparency, the numbers don't lie. And that's about going to do it for today's video. So if you think blind bidding should stick around, smash that like button. And if you think we should get rid of it and you hated this video, you should also smash that like button. At the end of the day, when forming my own opinions, I try to take the least biased approach possible and base it all off of research and data. So until there's a better argument otherwise, I'm gonna have to go with what the research says. But let me know, I'd be interested to hear what you think. Leave a comment down below and let me know how you feel. But if you did enjoy this video and you're interested in seeing more just like it discussing relevant real estate topics, I suggest you scroll down and hit that subscribe button, and also hit the bell while you're there so you know when my next video is coming out. And if you have been considering buying or selling in Surrey, Langley, or the rest of the Fraser Valley, you can scroll down and hit the first link in the description to book a call with me to discuss your options at your earliest convenience. Once again, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.